Hello there friends, the first CS2 tournament has come to an end. We found our champion and the entire Australia has charged up with some CS for the year ahead. Now the teams are making massive roster changes. If you thought there was chaos this summer, then get ready because the pro scene is turning upside down. Faze is falling apart, Navi is making changes, Liquid is assembling a dream team. Today we have various rumors and insights, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. So now we break things down. Where did it all begin and where is it going? Zonic is the primary source of many of these reshuffles and rumors. He moved to Falcons and aims to build a dream team there with an unlimited budget. He's currently in negotiations with many players and this has sent ripples through the pro scene. Plus, Faze's financial troubles have significantly intensified these changes. Don't forget that after IEM Sydney, many teams are entering a month-long break. If you're not partnered with Blast, it's online tournaments all the way until January, so this is the ideal time to make those pleasant or unpleasant and timely reshuffles. If you're not really interested in all those Rubat Cups, Thunder Packs and even less renowned tournaments, you can start preparing for the RMR, which begins in January. This is likely what Zonic and his dream team plan to do. Now, what does Faze have to do with all these rumors? They seem to be at the center of the most of them, right? Well, it's because they are facing enormous financial difficulties. Analysts predicted that they might run out of money before the year's end. They needed urgent investments, and those investments have come, though perhaps not in the way Faze Clan would have liked. You know, they can't really pick and choose. So, this massive American gaming conglomerate called Game Square, which also owns Complexity, as well as various agencies and significant teams in different disciplines, like League of Legends, has conducted a landmark deal. They acquired Faze Clan, and now they own a controlling stake. It's a bit of a complex merger, but ultimately Faze retains 45% and the main owners hold 55% of the new merged company. This means that Complexity and Faze now represent a single holding. In case you didn't understood, in the IEM Sydney finals, two teams that essentially belong to the same owner were competing. I have no idea how they resolved the conflict of interest because according to the rules of the major organizers, it's not allowed for two teams to represent a single company. It's if like Navi and Navi Jr. were playing against each other in the final of a major Tier 1 championship. But since the deal has been officially completed, they've probably found a way to make it all legitimate. By the way, this acquisition is estimated to be worth around $18 million. Right after the announcement of this move, there was a lot of talk about the imminent changes in the Faze roster. I even saw rumors that they might merge two rosters to create one super powerful team. But honestly, it's hard for me to imagine that anyone from Complexity is individually stronger than any player on Faze. And with this background, a plethora of rumors began to surface. First came Overdrive, who stated that Faze would have changes, followed by another insider, Jonas, who confirmed that Twists would indeed leave the roster. Granted, Jonas is not the most authoritative source, but Harumi also supported this information. According to him, only Kerrigan and Rain are certain to stay in the lineup, the rest are all up in the air. There's not much info about Robs and Brokey, but there's a plenty about Twists. It's already known that the Canadian declined an offer from Falcons. Several insiders reported this, meaning Twists didn't want to chase the big money and plans to stay at Tier 1 level consistently. The reason for his departure from Faze is unclear since they had just won the first CS2 tournament and everything appeared to be going well. However, the information changes almost every hour. While it seems like all the insiders have stated that Twist would definitely leave Faze, Overdrive suddenly mentioned yesterday evening that he might stay. But what we do now is that Dust 2 reports that two teams are interested in him currently, Liquid and Vitality. Both are currently rebuilding their rosters. It's quite challenging to say what will happen for sure, considering how intertwined everything is and how much depends on things that we don't control. For instance, if Magisk doesn't leave, Twists might stay in Faze, and this changes the plans for Liquid. In short, it's about what the players decide, and as you know, everyone is on a low start, and once someone takes the first step, it will be complete chaos, and we all will be bombarded with the immediate roster changes. Now, let's try to piece together the entire picture anyway. For Faze, there are four possible scenarios. The first is that nothing changes and the team will continue to build their era in CS2 after their victory in Sydney. The second scenario, which is currently the most likely to happen, involves Twists leaving. According to insiders, he'll likely to be replaced by Frozen. Twists himself has two potential paths, Liquid or Vitality. The third scenario sees both Twists and Robs leaving Faze, which is also rumored, and in this case they both had to Liquid, and oh, they want them. And the fourth scenario is the least likely to happen, a merger of Complexity and Faze rosters. When I first heard this, I thought it was just mad crazy absurd stuff, something that you wouldn't even come up with while heavily intoxicated, but when prominent insiders are seriously discussing this, you have to accept it's a new reality, especially if both Twists and Robs leave Faze. In such a case, creating a mixture of the two teams with players like Leash, Grim or Floppy filling their roles makes a lot more sense. So basically these were the four options for Faze, all compiled from various insiders, ranging from Overdrive to Harumi and Dust 2. So it's safe to say that these are not mere speculations, a significant overhaul in Faze is indeed looming. And this is also indicated by Twists himself, who after the final victory stated that he wouldn't comment on the rumors and that there's a lot of talk surrounding him right now. He later tweeted that life is complicated. Noteworthy changes are also happening in Liquid. There's news from Overdrive that Liquid is indeed signing Cadian. The boss is returning to the American team where he once saved his career. Excellent news, but it's not quite so simple. While it may seem logical that he's coming to replace Dabs, it seems that that's not really the case. According to Overdrive, Patsy is leaving Liquid. This is highly peculiar. On the other hand, there's no need for a second Yikinder. Their roles are very similar and having two super aggressive players doesn't make much sense. While Yikinder was the captain, it worked to an extent, but now it serves no purpose. There's more news from Dust 2 suggesting that both Dabs and OC are leaving the lineup, and Dabs isn't just returning as a coach, he's leaving altogether, and the legendary Brazilian Zeus is taking his place, and HLTV had already reported on this too. Another unexpected thing is that Liquid is parting ways with OC as reported by Dust 2, so it turns out that only Yikinder and Nav remain in the team, making the rumors about Twists and Robs quite reasonable. But that's not all. Brazilian media is just screaming that Liquid has signed Skulls, the star from Pain, and HLTV confirms that and says that the buyout amount was $600,000. What are those Brazilian transfer fees, bro? Just a reminder, Monacy cost just as much, so it appears that the new Liquid roster will most likely consist of Cadian as the Oper and the captain, Yikinder in his regular role, the consistently reliable Nav, Skulls and the prodigal son, Twists, and Zeus as the coach. On the whole, it looks promising, but we'll have to wait for the official announcements, and as you can imagine, everything can still change multiple times, or they may just stick with the current roster. Lastly, there's news about Falcons, a team undergoing significant changes. The main rumor is that Magisk might be joining the team. Right now, Vitality is attempting to retain him, offering a new contract. If he doesn't sign it, he'll become a free agent at the end of the year. Falcons also tried to acquire Twists, as we discussed earlier, but he declined. Next, KRL provided some insights. He was the first to mention Zonic's departure, Flames and Spinks joining Vitality, so he's well informed on this topic. According to him, the only remaining player from the current Falcons lineup will likely be Boros. And Zonic wants Snappy as the in-game leader and the captain. You know, Snappy is the kind of player who can build a team from scratch and achieve success. The main stars, apart from Magisk, will be Niko and Monacy, which sounds really crazy. Not so long ago, it was impossible to even think about it. But according to rumors, G2 may not want to meet Niko's salary demands. They are considering offering a new contract with a lower salary, and Niko is currently contemplating his options. He could go to Falcons, where he will earn enough to buy a beer factory but not win as much, or he could stay with G2, earning significantly less but having better chances at tournaments. As for Monacy, he simply wants to play with Niko. It's unclear what will happen with Hunter, since the brothers have stated in various interviews that they want to play together and have a family business at G2 that they don't want to disrupt. Overall, there are more questions than answers. Now all we have left is wait and see what will happen during this short break. Or even at Blast, we could already see the new lineups. By the way, when it comes to Mouse, it's possible that Frozen might be leaving for Faze. However, there's no need to worry about Mouse. They have the best academy academy in the world, and they're likely to find a replacement quickly. Plus, Frozen has really been with this team for a long time, for 4 years from call to call, and he's only 21. And lastly, regarding transfers, there's now a lot of talk about the possibility of Simple leaving Navi. Here's what Overdrive has to say about it. I heard a rumor that Natus Vincere is trying to part ways with Simple. The org wants to move him somewhere or just conclude the relationships between them, so the organization can move on. This is not an inside, just heard about it. I can believe this, that Navi is indeed tired of Simple, that they are entirely dependent on his decisions and desires in terms of gameplay and management, so they need to move forward. On the other hand, he's a goldmine. Sponsors, fanbase, everything is just about him. Sasha essentially represents more than 50% of the club, so from that perspective, I don't really believe in this. We'll live and see. Something tells me that the long and beautiful story of Simple and Navi is coming to an end. Maybe not now, maybe next year, but his career will continue in some other team, but it will be a completely different story. There's no concrete here or 100% inside information regarding this team, as is usually the case here. That was basically what Overdrive said, and this is also supported by Kurumi, who says that Navi is indeed trying to sell him, and there are various rumors circulating among orgs. It's really hard to believe, but lately Simple himself has been providing reasons for us to doubt. He didn't travel to Sydney for reasons unknown, and he hasn't disclosed the cause. Then he mentioned that he might not attend the next tournament, then later said he might go. All of this looks quite strange. In any case, Navi has a break until the next Blast, which is about a month, giving them time to address all the issues within the team. We'll just have to wait and see what they decide in the end. I would personally keep Blade as the Opper and work on building new era in CS2. And against all of this, Simple and Perfecto posted some intriguing messages on socials. Simple showed off merchandise with the legendary Navi lineup, which also included Boomwitch and Flamey. And then Perfecto posted a tweet saying just 2020, referring to the lineup from that time. What are these posts? What did they mean by this? Not entirely clear. Is it some kind of a riddle? Anyways, we will find out about it soon. So guys, what do you think about all these roster changes? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. It's just complete madness. Let's talk. And in the end, I just want to tell you about IEM Sydney. Last time we stopped at the semifinals, and I'll tell you right away that they just turned out to be quite straightforward. Just so you know, Complexity completely dominated G2 in this tournament. Consider this: 13-8 on Anubis and 13-3 on G2's pick, Ancient. Even the magic of this stage and the presence of an Australian player in the team, JKS, couldn't help. After Elish joined, Complexity has been showing some intense CS. Floppy is in good shape, JT, despite being the captain, still delivers, and Grim has blossomed since the time in Liquid. It seems that they needed a player like Elish who glued it all together, and it's working for them. As for G2, it was the worst CS performance from the Kovac family in a very long time, whereas he did much better against ENCE. The only one showing something was Monesi, but with just one player carrying, you can't win. Complexity made it to the grand finals. To put it into perspective, it's their first LAN final since 2014, so it has basically been 9 years for the org. The second semifinal was also straightforward, but there was something interesting here. Faze picked Nuke, which is understandable, but Mouse chose Vertigo, and it wasn't by chance. It was Faze's weakest side, the permaban map for them, and Mouse couldn't miss this chance. Interestingly, the last time FaZe Clan played Vertigo was at the major in Rio, and they lost, leading to their elimination. If you remember, there was a lot of talk back then. Kerrigan took a risk and failed miserably. What would happen here? Is it the same story again, or a high IQ move from the legend? As it turns out, it was a prepared bait. FaZe simply had no chance and dominated Mouse on Nuke with a score of 13-4, and then they won on their permaban map with a score of 13-9. That was harsh, but even more so was what Twists did there. The Canadian monster simply obliterated Mouse.
Fight, I say that, they're not ready for him, he advances with the spray! A double shut down from Twists! He's got another! Somebody! It has to be! Frozen can't do anything, it's all Twists! Went for Twist, can he possibly do more? Okay, he can! Twists, a masterclass! Absolute wizardry! Shuey, sure, some consolation from...
A super confident 2-0. Faze just charged through their opponents. And finally, we made it to the finals. And it turned out to be incredibly colorful. This is something you have to see for yourself, especially the last map. Complexity came back from 3-10 in the final game against Faze, and they even forced overtimes. But if it wasn't for Rain, Complexity could have won.
From the 12! It's only a couple left, but just like that, Elige has cleared him out. It's up to Rain in the clutch. He nails Elige, and JT once again has to come up clutch. 37! Rain! Ice cold in the clutch!
And wow, the arena is amazing. I haven't seen such an electrifying audience for a long time. Pro players acknowledge it too and hope that a major will take place in Australia someday. People here are just fantastic. And I have to mention it, it's only thanks to Rain that Faze managed to win this insane series. They had to play double overtimes on the third decisive map. It's always a pleasure to watch, but in such moments experience usually wins. And Faze, luckily, has plenty of it. They are the kings of overtimes, especially double overtimes.
It's certainly done! Breathes that in! A sound he'll never grow tired of! Faze Clan!
Blade received the MVP award and HOTV even created a separate page for him just for that. Nah, stay calm, I'm just kidding. In reality, it was Rain to receive the MVP award and it was very well deserved, to be honest. Moreover, he is now the oldest MVP in history at 29 years old, but he's playing like a 16 years old. This, guys, is what CS2 does to a man. As for Kerrigan, he's a legend with trophies in 3 different games, CS 1.6, CSGO and CS2. He's the only one in the pro scene with such achievements. It's super strange to see all these rumors about potential changes in Faze, especially after winning the trophy. Yeah, you know, like most teams make changes right after winning something. In any case, we can look forward to some very interesting days ahead, filled with groundbreaking news. Congratulations to Faze on their victory, and let's wait for the next tournament. To make sure you don't miss anything, just subscribe to this channel, leave a like, and I will be motivated to do more videos. Thanks for watching. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.